The attic was hot, stuffy, and dark, lit only by a single flickering candle that threatened to snuff out at any moment. Cobwebs brushed against their faces as four old friends, Anna, Luis, Maya, and Derek, huddled around a dusty Ouija board laid out on an ancient table. None of them really believed in ghosts or demons, not until tonight. It had been Anna's idea to play with the Ouija board, which they'd found hidden in the attic of her grandmother's house. While Rum family legend claimed the home was haunted by an entity known only as Azazel, no one had ever summoned it, that is until now. Anna was skeptical, but intrigued. She took the planchette, held it steady between her thumb and forefinger, and asked, "Is anyone there?" The question hung heavy in the silence, punctuated only by the distant creak of the house settling around them. Then, slowly, almost imperceptibly at first, the planchette began to move. It spelled out the word "yes" letter by agonizing letter. Anna felt a shiver crawl up her spine. Maybe this was all just a trick of the light, some quirk of the old house. But then the planchette moved again, spelling out another message. "I am Azazel." What had they unleashed? Before anyone could respond, the planchette darted away from them, seemingly of its own volition. Then it turned back, spelling out a single chilling word, nitrogen monoxide. Not friendly, the friends breathed in unison. They wanted to call it quits, but something compelled them to ask more questions. "Are you here to harm us?" The planchette shook its head, spelling out N-O. It spelled out the word again, this time faster, more insistently, before shooting away once more. "Leave," it commanded, the word stark against the darkness. Terror pricked at the back of Anna's throat. Just as she opened her mouth to reply, the attic door slammed shut with a resounding bang, plunging them into total darkness. They screamed in the sudden blackness, scrambling for the door in panic. "Help!" cried Maya. "The door's locked." A low growl echoed through the attic, seeming to come from everywhere and nowhere at once. The candle sputtered, casting grotesque shadows that twisted and writhed across the attic walls like grasping claws. Their silhouettes were frozen in place, trapped forever in the grip of the unseen entity. Fear, thick and cloying, filled their lungs, stealing their breath. Then, just as suddenly as it began, the growling stopped. An unnerving quiet descended, broken only by their ragged breaths and the relentless drip of a nearby leak. Time seemed to stretch, each second echoing with unseen menace. Then a pale face appeared in the gloom. Startled gasps escaped their lips as they stared. It seemed to be coming from the trunk. A leather-bound trunk sat in the corner, its lid slightly ajar, revealing a glimpse of something sickly white beneath. Was it a person? A corpse? Their eyes strained to pierce the gloom, but the attic remained stubbornly dark, concealing whatever horrors lay within. As if sensing their fear, the trunk lid creaked open wider, revealing nothing but dust and cobwebs. Had they imagined it? Or was the demon playing with them, teasing them with glimpses of its ghastly presence? A sudden movement near the table made them whirl around. The planchette, they gasped. It was moving again, gliding smoothly across the board without any of them touching it. It traced strange symbols in the air, then vanished, melting into a spreading black shadow that oozed across the surface like ink on parchment. Terror lent speed to their flight. They scrambled back, crashing into each other in their haste to escape. But the shadow was quicker, snaking out, coiling around their legs, tripping them. It pulled at their clothes, icy fingers digging into their flesh, dragging them down into the suffocating darkness. They fell to their knees, their hands clawing at the shadowy abyss. But the darkness was relentless, pulling them deeper into its inky embrace. Hope, like a flickering candle, threatened to be snuffed out. Then through the terror, Anna remembered the cross she always wore, a small silver pendant hidden beneath her shirt. She clutched it tight, whispering a desperate prayer for help. In response, The planchette shot out of the darkness, hovering above the board like a phantom. It spun rapidly, then shot forward, striking the planchette. Suddenly, the shadow recoiled, hissing like a serpent. And then, as if with a voice ripped from the depths of hell itself, the board boomed, "I am Azazel." Unseen hands brushed against them, icy fingers tracing lines of contact. One grazed Maya's shoulder, sending a jolt of terror through her. Time froze. The attic hung suspended in a silent tableau, the very air thick with anticipation. Then, with a sound like shattering glass, the demon lunged. Derek reacted instantly, snatching up the nearest object, a heavy brass lamp. He swung it with all his might, smashing it down on the board. They watched in suspense as the fragments scattered. Black smoke billowed, taking the shape of a grotesque, snarling beast before dissolving into wisps of darkness. The attic was plunged into chaos as the beast lunged at them, sending them sprawling. Adrenaline surging, they scrambled for the stairs, racing into the darkness, their footsteps echoing in the oppressive silence. The steps gave way beneath them, rushing downward, leading them away from the attic and toward safety. Or so they thought. When they looked back, the steps had vanished, leaving them in total darkness. They were trapped in the heart of the house, with a demon loose in the attic above. Their frantic whispers were swallowed by the darkness. Moments stretched into an eternity as they groped for the wall, searching for a way out. Just when their hope began to dwindle, their fingers brushed against something solid. Grasping at straws, they clung to the banister. Sliding down the banister, they raced through the darkened hallway, desperate to escape the clutches of the demon. Each step echoed in the oppressive silence, their footsteps pounding a frantic rhythm against the wooden floorboards. Then, as if Azazel himself were mocking their plight, the hallway ahead of them dissolved into darkness, swallowed by an abyss that seemed to stretch into eternity. They stumbled, falling to their knees as the last vestiges of light faded around them. Trapped, they huddled together, their backs against the wall, their breaths mingling in the stifling darkness. The attic door groaned open, spilling slivers of moonlight into the hallway. One by one, they rose, their bodies aching, their eyes adjusting to the dim glow. With trembling hands, they fumbled for the door handle, pushing it open and stepping out into the night. They didn't stop running until they reached the safety of Anna's car, their breaths ragged, their hearts pounding against their ribs. Safe at last, they collapsed onto the car seats, gasping for breath. The encounter with Azazel still vivid in their minds, the demon's taunts echoing in their ears. But as they recounted their terrifying tale, a chill ran down their spines. They realized something was terribly wrong. The attic door, which they had left wide open, was now firmly shut. The lock clicked into place, sealing the demon inside. Or did it? As if to answer their unspoken question, the pristine white planchette moved by itself, spelling out a single chilling message: "See you soon."